3, 2, 1.
We'd like to welcome you to another edition of GrokTALK, brought to you by New Hampshire's leading conservative blog site, GrokTALK.com. We are your feared extremist, right-wing, hard-charging, gun-toting, opinionated, outspoken, rabble-rousing, letter-writing, radio microphone-stomping conservatives and rational libertarians. So get ready for more news and opinion you could only get from GrokTALK.com.
GrokTALK. Don't you love it when I do that? It's been a couple weeks. I was listening to the show last week, which we did live from the Coalition of New Hampshire Taxpayers family reunion, taxpayer picnic, and I was listening to myself go, and I'm like, oh my god. Welcome to GrokTALK. We're going to try to reduce the number of ums if we can, but we'll do that, hopefully. You're not turned up yet, see, because I have all these buttons.
And you have the master controls.
I do. I have the master controls.
So that would be Grok Mumble?
Grok Mumble. Grok Our guests today, we are expecting Max Abramson, Kevin Bloom, Mike Ferris, who's going to join us to talk about the SCOTUS same-sex marriage, and Lawrence McQuillan. He has a book out about the pension problem, and we're going to talk to him about that. I'm getting an echo. I'm feedbacking somewhere. Where's that coming from?
Do you have your audio on?
Somewhere I'm picking it up.
Mike?
Don't think so.
And I wonder where it's coming from. You hear it? Do you hear it, ladies and gentlemen? Do you hear it on Facebook or Twitter? Do you hear it on iTunes, iHeart, Spreaker, TuneIn, or Stitcher? Hey, by the way, while we try to figure out what that is, since we took all the equipment and then brought it all back and hooked it all up and it was all working great until just now, you can go to Patreon, patreon.com/GrokTALK, and support this program. It's our latest way to help you, help us.
I can hear the music very faintly in the background.
I know the music, there's an issue with my music, and I'm going to have to... It all of a sudden got really quiet for some reason, and we'll keep checking it out. Anyway, I'm going to work on that for a couple seconds. You gentlemen start talking until Max gets here.
Absolutely.
And there's plenty to talk about. A lot of things happening nationally and locally, as usual.
Let's go hyper-local for right now, because Steve beat me to... We're in Concord, New Hampshire, and they've now finished half of their roadway redo. So
Main Street, yeah.
Yeah, so Steve has already pulled in and got out of his car, so I rolled my window down because I was across the street at the red light, called out to him, Steve! And when I did, I saw this little painting on the brand new black tar. Mm-hmm. And as I pulled in next to him, I went, bike lane. Right. I am just waiting to see what's going to happen, because if they're declaring that the cars and semis and big trucks that go through here, they have left so little room between the end of the slanted parking for cars and what's going to be the median strip, and they put this bike signal on, or bike symbol on there.
Bike path symbol, yeah.
Yeah, it's like usually a bike path, it's a dedicated set of space for it. Now they're saying you will share the road with the bikes, and I'm thinking, I can't wait for this thing to happen, because...
It's essentially, you can't have northbound heavy vehicles up Main Street. They're going to have to go around Stores Drive, because there's just not enough width there. As it is, by restricting it to 1 and a bit lanes plus parking, anytime anybody reverses out of a parking slot, the entire travel lane will stop. It's going to become non-viable for through traffic and too much trouble for anybody to come to the shops. I wouldn't.
Well, here's the deal. This is typical of the Sustainable Communities Initiative by HUD, EPA, and DOT, and the Concord folks fell for it full line and sinker with their professional planners. And
the shopkeepers here should have asked the shopkeepers in Nashua before they let them do it, because I can tell you the shopkeepers in Nashua are going under.
Yeah, and I saw the same. Been watching the same thing for a couple of decades up in Laconia after they did their urban redevelopment, which made it a whole walkable area, and it never has recovered. I mean, it comes in waves. The storefronts sit empty for a while. Some people move in, they start to open up new shops, and then a couple of years later they go out of business, because what the planners don't seem to understand is that nobody lives downtown. I don't think people want to live, quote-unquote, downtown for the most part. They want to live where the perfect clown car time.
Yeah.
And if you're not going to make it convenient for people from out of town, we have a parking lot 3 blocks away. That's convenient enough. I'm sorry if I'm carrying a bag. I mean, these guys don't get it. This is the instant now, no inconvenience generation. And if you're not going to do that for out-of-towners, people don't care to come.
There's 2 ways to use the main street. If you want to walk around, enjoy the ambience, have a drink, go get a meal, walk around some more, you don't mind parking in the parking garage. If you want to get something, whether it be fragile or heavy or just bulky, from a store and leave, you want to park outside that store, get it, and go. And if you can't, you won't come.
Yeah, I guess central planners hate men, because men hate shopping
Yeah.
for the most part. When I go shopping, here's my list. I know exactly where to get it. I even know the aisles in the grocery store where each item is. I know what I want. I want to spend the least amount of time getting in, getting it, getting out my money, paying for it, and getting out the door and getting home.
It's why, for example, I hate the southern part of Daniel Webster Highway in Nashua, because it's all about getting in and out of various strip malls and then the shopping mall at the end. And it's backed up the entire shopping day, and I don't go there if it's shopping hours.
Yeah.
This is interesting because I go to Market Basket and I shop there regularly, and I go and I have a list, and I actually have my list, and the list is where the stuff is in the store.
Oh, I don't get
So
that
it's layered
organized.
across. So I just go and I go get it, and I leave. And sometimes I'll grab maybe 1 or 2 other things if I happen to remember that I need them while I'm there. So I was there in the bread aisle, which was packed with people, and a gentleman says, I don't know why, he was talking to us, I don't know why we both come here together. We always end up spending twice as much money. I just started laughing because it's true. Because when I bring my wife with me, we end up buying all this other stuff. And it's not just her, it's me too. It's like together, it's like squared. You know, it's shopping squared.
Logarithmic, you get more than twice.
We go in to buy $50 worth of stuff and we leave with $150 or something like that. It's crazy.
Yeah.
So, anyway, Max has joined us. Good morning, sir. Hang on, we'll get your headset all set
It's
up.
Big Max.
And Max joined us today. The subject may have changed because we arranged this several weeks ago, but you had mentioned something about the dumbest law in New Hampshire.
Well, we have a contest for school-age kids and college students in New Hampshire called New Hampshire's Dumbest Law. And at first we thought we'd find 3 or 4 really silly, outdated, ridiculous laws that don't make any sense. May have been passed over 100 years ago. And, of course, the contest is to find what is the most ridiculous, dumbest, most outdated, nonsensical law that just makes you laugh or scratch your head and wonder what were they thinking. And we've heard from quite a few people, and of course the deadline is September 15th because the deadline for submitting LSRs is September 18th.
Didn't anybody mention the hands-free law just right out of the gate?
Yes, a few people have mentioned that. It might be a little soon to repeal or work on that. However, some people have noticed that if your GPS goes off and has one of those yes/no questions while you're parked at a stoplight, that a cop can still fine you just for pushing the yes/no button. So that's, whether that was the legislature's intent or not, that truly is a ridiculous law.
And I noticed that in the paper, sorry, Steve.
No, go ahead.
In the paper, the first car accident that came up,
Hold my thought.
okay, was not a distracted driver because of texting or calling or talking, but coffee and a radio.
Well, I was thinking about this morning. Now, the only time I conveniently have just had to purchase a new vehicle because the motor on my Honda Accord died. It was 16 years old, so that stuff happens. So I get a new car. It's 2013. It's not new. It's new to me, but it has hands-free in it. So I'm like, oh, well, that's good timing because the law starts in a week, and so that worked out. I've been trying to set it up, but so I'm okay with that. But then when we went to CNHT, I used Google Maps on my phone, which I couldn't touch, to check while I was driving. So I had to pull over, stop, do my thing, and then go again to make sure because I don't go there very often. I go to Hillsborough once a year for the CNHT picnic. That's it. So I'm in the drive-thru getting coffee on my way here, and I'm pulling up to the little speaker, and so I order my coffee, and as I'm going around the corner, I'm pulling up, I'm getting my wallet out, steering with my knee, finding my Dunkin' Donuts card, da-da-da-da-da, and I'm not in traffic or anything. I'm just right there. But if I could do that, If I just touched my phone and there was a cop there, he'd write me a ticket or at least give me a warning. It's ridiculous.
Well, he
$100
shouldn't be able to do that on the private property of Dunkin' Donuts.
Well, this is an example. I mean,
Yeah,
if I was
yeah.
doing it in before I turned in to get to the Dunkin' Donuts,
Yeah, it's possible.
regardless of whether or not I felt capable of making that decision on my own safely, which I did, it's just crazy.
Well, people make decisions every day when it's safe to pick up the phone, pick up the microphone, tap a key on something. The policemen do it in millions, multiple times per day because they've got their radio, probably their cell phone as well, their laptop type terminal, and they use all of this stuff, and most of them manage not to hit anything.
I know because my company sells that stuff to the police. We do.
Right.
And you look inside the police cruiser, and it's Knight Rider plus a laptop.
Yeah.
And they think that we are incompetent to use a subset of that.
So did we
You
get
can't
any
hit
other
the yes
good?
or no? Oh my goodness. Well, the requirement for a submission is you have to be going to school or school-age kid. Homeschooled kids are okay. College students are okay, any age. You have to list either the law or the RSA so that we can find it. Because if you go to legislative services and you just say, can you repeal some law, they might not be able to find the law. So we have to know what it is, and you have to give a reason why you want that law repealed. So there are a number of websites and there are a number of forums where people have brought things up, but they've been submitting more and more ridiculous laws to the Facebook page, New Hampshire's Dumbest Law. And some of my favorites, my personal favorite, is it's against the law, New Hampshire, to put on a puppet show for money or promote any other public competition without a license from the selectmen of the town. So Dave Ridley, who does Ridley Report,
Correct.
did
Which you all should be checking out if you're not.
he's very funny. He put on a puppet show in public in front of the State House as civil disobedience to show that it's illegal to do a puppet show in public. Now, I don't know if they've repealed. It looks like they didn't repeal that law, but I guess there was a.
That is funny, though.
There was not a bill, but an effort to put in a bill that never went anywhere. But it's one of those ridiculous rules that makes no sense. I'm sure there was a reason for it. Someone mentioned the use of milk containers. Nowadays, we recycle our milk containers and reuse, and we're all into the environmental thing. But RSA 184, Section 30-D says, no milk and milk product container shall be used as a receptacle for any substance other than dairy products. Now, this was passed in 1907, has been modified again and
Skip
again.
and I look at each other.
Okay.
Back in the days when you had these small glass,
Bottles,
thick glass containers.
Oh yeah,
for your milk.
used to.
And those were
in Bro-
reused for milk.
Yeah.
So I mean, I can understand where you wouldn't want somebody storing kerosene in it and then thinking, oh, that's a milk bottle, let's put milk in it.
Yeah. No, I remember getting the home milk delivery when I was young. Every Thursday morning, there's the bottles of milk.
We didn't, but I had neighbors who had the milk box.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
And there's a law that says that it has to be pasteurized. Milk has to be pasteurized. You can't have raw milk, except that there's a little exception in there for raw milk. If you advertise it in your business as raw milk.
That's pasteurized milk.
Right,
That's the sign for pasteurized milk.
Yeah.
I don't know
he
very
said
many.
pasteurized milk, and Steve's doing like this. I'm going.
Pasteurized milk. That's what that is.
The virtual cow. Sorry, Max.
Radio listeners probably aren't going to get that one.
The video ones will.
I'm milking a cow past my eyes. So anyway.
Sunday work. We have RSA 332 Section D, which are all of the blue laws, things that you can't do on Sunday. You can't operate heavy machinery on Sunday. There are a whole number of things that you can't do. Well, contrary to what the Bible says, the RSA say no person shall engage in any play, game, or sport on that day.
Which has to include puppet shows.
Well, what do you mean contra the Bible? The
Bible
does-
says that's your day of relaxation and rest and enjoyment, and you're supposed to honor the Sabbath.
Yeah, but if you go back in history, and the best example are the Orthodox Jews who hold firmly to this, there is to be no work whatsoever. It is supposed to be a day of relaxation and contemplation. So causing someone to work on your behalf.
And no contemplating work either, for that
Yeah, I mean,
matter.
it was very much not a time to go out and have a whole lot of fun. I mean, it was basically doing nothing.
Okay, we're going to take a short break, and then we're going to come back and have some more fun with these crazy laws. Stay tuned.
Hi, this is Rich Gerard, host of Gerard at Large in the Morning, the Manchester area's only locally owned, locally operated, focused, and interested riveting radio show, heard live every Monday through Friday from 6 to 9 on 90.7 FM WLMW, New Hampshire Family Radio, and available 24/7 live or archived at GerardAtLarge.com. Be sure to tune in.
This is a coalition of New Hampshire taxpayers. We're located at 8 North Main in Concord, New Hampshire. This is a repository for all things conservative and municipal. So if you have a problem in your town, your school, your budget committee, the right to know law, and now, at the top of our list is voter fraud. You have a tip for us, some information for us, you want to join or help us out, cnht.org.
I'm bleeding for you people. One of the exciting things about shaving and having ulcerative colitis is that sometimes I break out when my medication somehow manages to get balanced or if I forget to take it. So I get acne in strange places. And this morning, having put shaving cream on my face, I'm moving along nicely, having no problem. And then I went to put the razor right near my lip.
Are you doing an Obama with the middle finger?
Obama. I'm going to put a Band-Aid on it in a second. All of a sudden, you cut yourself. I'm like, rip. So there you go.
This is why you use an electric razor.
I do sometimes use an electric razor, but I'm blade guy. I prefer a blade shave. So, reminder, Facebook and Twitter, please follow us, Granite Grok, and check out this and past programs on iTunes, iHeart, Spreaker, TuneIn, Stitcher, and remember, we are now at patreon.com/GrokTALK. You can donate and help support the program. Let's talk about goofy laws now.
So I did a little bit more research, and I found a list of some of the best. It's a top 15 list. You may not tap your feet, nod your head, or in any way keep time to the music in a tavern, restaurant, or cafe. Now, I'd heard about that one, but I haven't been able to find the RSA for it. There is one, RSA 332 Section D. You cannot run machinery on Sundays. That's an older one. Actually, all of, I think, 332 is from 1960s. It's illegal to inhale bus fumes with the intent of inducing euphoria. So it's legal to inhale bus fumes, but not if you're trying to get high. Now, when I was a kid, we waited at the bus stop at school, and they had all of these diesel buses running, producing diesel fumes, idling for 5, 10, 15 minutes, and all the kids are sitting around waiting to go home, breathing in diesel fumes all day long. Not all day long, but for about 10 or 15 minutes. We're sitting there. We had to stay there because buses would leave at random times.
They had much higher levels of both unburned hydrocarbons and carbon monoxide in the diesel fumes back then than they do now.
I got that beat, though. If you work at UPS in the center, when they go to get ready to leave in the morning after you're done loading the trucks and you're finishing up, you get 100 and some odd package cars, half diesel, some regular unleaded fuel, all firing up inside a building. Yeah. Granted, it's a huge building, but it's still inside a building. So for a good half hour, you're just walking through this stuff. I mean, that's why when I used to come home, I smelled like diesel exhaust. And when I get done, go to my next job, I'd have to take a shower.
Parents in Texas were upset because their kids were coming home smelling like diesel fumes every single day. Was it an exhaust leak? Who knows? They smelled like diesel. Kids came home smelling like diesel. So on the ride to school and the ride home, they're breathing in diesel fumes all day long. So they switched to biodiesel. They saved money.
And the kids come home smelling like French fries.
No, biodiesel fumes actually smell kind of like sourdough. Biodiesel fumes there's a myth about them smelling like French fries because so many come from French fry cookers. Once you combust it, it smells has kind of a soury odor to it. But the kids are breathing in diesel fumes all over the country. They're the burnt fuel, and they're breathing in the exhaust, and it's impossible to completely contain fuel. Diesel's a lot better than gasoline, but again, the kids are breathing this in. So they switched to biodiesel. They saved money, of course. Biodiesel costs less than regular diesel. The engines on the last longer. They don't have to spend as much money on maintenance. So I brought this up with the Seabrook School Board, and I said, well, why don't you guys switch to biodiesel? And they just said no.
Well, part of it may be cost and availability.
Well, there's a lot of biodiesel in New Hampshire. It's evidence.
Yeah.
I think
And
it's
there's
the cold,
a company
isn't it?
called
Doesn't work
Smart Fuel that sells biodiesel in Seabrook. It's right there, and they sell it truckloads,
Does it
6,000
gel
gallons
up
at
in
a
the
time.
cold wicked bad, though? And
Well,
the buses
so
don't
does
run?
regular diesel.
I know,
fuel,
but I mean
too.
it's worse with biodiesel.
Yeah.
I think.
I know, but you can mix it at different quantities. So,
Well, it's an option. I mean, obviously, if you want to save the district money, and
but it's not an option because, no, they're not going to do it. The problem with school boards is everything is done under the RSA, so they have to deal with the lawyers, they have to deal with the state statutes, they have to deal with the SAUs, and they have a lot of really dumb laws. You can't just hire the principal who you want to hire. The SAU brings, this is the dumbest law in the state right here, the SAU brings forward 3 candidates, 2 homeless guys and their candidate. And you have to hire one of the 3. And if you reject them all, they bring their candidate back and 2 new homeless guys. And eventually you have to hire their candidate, or you operate on a acting principal, your vice principal, for however many years this fight goes on, months or years. And
Anybody ever elect the homeless guy?
the school board
So they're
has to,
discriminating against homeless people?
the individuals who are absolutely not qualified to serve as a janitor get brought in as the 2 alternate candidates. And this is the statute, and the SAU on its own gets to decide if someone is qualified or not. There's no qualifications. They just get to bring in people who should never be around school children. And once in a while, someone who should never be around school children gets hired as the principal.
Of course, with the now the big push is, since gay marriage is now legal in all 50 states, or 57 states if you're sitting with Obama, there's now the push for polyamory and polygamy to be made legal.
Mm-hmm.
And now we're also hearing, as I posted up, a push for folks like the NAMBLA folks.
Mm-hmm.
It's no longer a perversion. It's just a minor child. What was the word that they used?
Sexual orientation in
Orientation.
California.
Yeah, minor child
California
orientation.
recognizes pedophilia as a sexual orientation. It's like an alternative lifestyle as far as they're concerned.
Yeah.
And I've been telling other conservatives, and some of them don't believe me. And I said, after transgender, the next group they're going for is pedophiles.
Yeah.
They want to.
This is the
political correctness. You're going to have to accept pedophiles
and this,
their
folks,
choice of lifestyle.
This, folks, is where the overlap of the leftist progressive agenda and the Muslim agenda occurs.
Well, it's
Sorry.
possible, but it is
That
a complete.
unfortunately is true.
You can legally marry your camel? What? Where are you going with that?
How do
No,
they?
it is actually. This was foreseen by a Democrat senator, Daniel Monahan, who was the former ambassador to the UN, where he said all we're doing is defining deviancy down. And heck, I would be brought up on some Star Chamber environment just for saying defining deviancy down by those whose deviancy has now been downgraded. It really
Will tree
is.
huggers be looking for a next level of intimacy?
Well,
Don't laugh. Somebody was arrested for
and
that.
I have an opinion.
Oh.
There might be a law against that. Maybe it falls
yeah.
under the puppet show thing. I don't know.
But it's not. It may not. It may not be illegal to rape a horse in New Hampshire and a handful of other states, because it's legal to have sex with a horse. But how do you gain
In New
consent from
Hampshire?
Yes. How do you gain consent from a horse?
Flick of the tail?
The horse says nay. Does that mean nay?
Yeah, does no really mean no, according to
No
Bill
means
Clinton.
maybe.
Yeah, well, I mean, Bill Clinton's going to be in big trouble pretty soon because no means yes.
Well, I mean, if you look at the feminazi constant consent people. I mean, he's guilty of raping millions of women, technically, probably just by, Joe Biden. He touched people. There's all these things that show up that obviously don't apply to them, but in the real world where the rest of us live, where they try to enforce their rules, if you open a door for a woman, you might be committing rape.
Can we bring back Ted Kennedy from the dead? Because, that Senator Dodd and Senator Kennedy infamous waitress sandwich, that would have been enough to get him in trouble.
Oh, yeah.
So how, on the left,
Mary Jo Kopechne has no comment.
Are their ideas underwater yet?
The coalition of angry, man-hating feminists together with Middle Eastern countries where if a woman is raped, it's legal to honor kill her.
And her word is she needs 5 witnesses to be the equal of the rapist. The Sharia law. Sharia law,
and for any matter, you need 2 women to get to have an equal opinion to 1 man.
Wow.
Yeah, it's really bad stuff, folks. But I'm going to stick my neck out. The Gestapo will probably come after it. So you look at what's going on, and you refer to pedophilia and NAMBLA, and I've observed something. We read about Muslims trying to groom teenage girls, for sex slavery, but it's not that men in general and old white men are predatory, but there is a certain class of gay who are predatory, who go out and try to groom the youngsters and get them into the lifestyle.
Terry Bean.
Right. It is a fact, and it is how a lot of them become gay in the first place.
Well, I see occasionally
they talk
in the
about
blogosphere,
having a deep bench, right?
Steve. Well, you wrote about Terry Bean, this pedophile, high-placed Democrat donor, and it's like the media has just wiped it clear. You're the only person who really kept writing about
There's
it.
There's updates in Oregon.
Yeah,
in
but that's about
one
it.
local paper that I know of every week or so now, because there's a lot of things going on, but nobody else covers it.
Yeah.
I went to the State House on the same-sex marriage issue. I went to the State House. Going back to the 90s, I was a kid. I didn't know anything. I'd always been a supporter of same-sex marriage. The Libertarian Party had been a supporter of same-sex marriage going back to 1972 when it was unheard of, because it was an equality issue, and they had no problem taking controversial opinions back in those days. And the Libertarian Party also ran the first ever openly gay presidential candidate back in 1972. Fast forward to 2000 and some odd, I went to the State House to testify in favor of the same-sex marriage bill, and I can't remember the hearing, but I remember that I decided not to testify. I just kind of sat there, and it's all these divorce lawyers coming forward, and it's the Bar Association, and I go to the Bar Association's website and start doing a little research, and gosh, the lawyers really seem to be in favor of this. And then you see if you've seen the movie Divorce Corp, which I would strongly recommend that viewers go see, it shows how the divorce industry and the divorce lawyers just absolutely destroy families, destroy their assets, pit people against each other, turn the kids into chips in a high-stakes poker game, and the highest, when they assign a dollar amount per child, what each child is worth in divorce court and in the family courts, the highest state in the nation is New Hampshire. It's over $2 million per child. Over $2 million per child.
All right, we're going to take a break and head into our next segment. You're certainly welcome to stay. We're expecting Kevin Bloom and somebody else. I think I just saw Dan out there, but we'll be right back shortly. Stay tuned. We're going to talk about a religious freedom issue, as I understand it. This is GrokTALK. We are back in studio, and we hope you'll stay tuned. And while you're waiting, check us out on Facebook and Twitter. Stay there.
This is the Coalition of New Hampshire Taxpayers. We're located at 8 North Main in Concord, New Hampshire. This is the repository for all things conservative and municipal. So if you have a problem in your town, your school, your budget committee, the right to know law, and now at the top of our list is voter fraud. You have a tip for us, some information for us, you want to join or help us out, cnht.org.
Hi, this is Rich Gerard, host of Gerard at Large in the Morning. The the Manchester area's only locally owned, locally operated, focused, and interested riveting radio show, heard live every Monday through Friday from 6 to 9 on 90.7 FM WLMW, New Hampshire Family Radio, and available 24/7 live or archived at GerardAtLarge.com. Be sure to tune in.
GrokTALK.
Grok TV.